Hi, Alan here, and this is Alan from RVAcrossamerica.net. I am still at my summer desk. It is late September, and I've got some things to share. I've been sitting here longer than I anticipated. I'm waiting for my new fifth wheel to arrive, and that's when I'm going to hit the road and start traveling, probably almost right out to my winter oasis where I ski and ski instruct all winter in the central Idaho mountains. But that said, my topic in this video is going to be about selecting the right RV and understanding the consequences of making a mistake. And I've been in RV consulting and sales now for 3 summers. I have helped at this point the better part of 300 people buy campers over the past 3 summers. And I have seen some of my own people who've bought campers from me, and I've seen others who bought campers elsewhere come in very shortly after buying their camper and say, we want to trade it. And there are a couple of facts of life you need to understand. And I want to share those with you because the picture is not pretty when you want to trade your camper or even sell your camper. And I'm talking fifth wheel, travel trailer, motorhome, doesn't matter what it is. If you bought it new, and honestly, I've seen people come in as early as 3 weeks after purchasing their camper, actually 2 weeks. I had one couple this summer, 2 weeks after buying their camper say it wasn't the right thing for whatever reason. And they actually had gone against the advice I had given them, and they had exactly the issue that I told them was going to come up. I'm not going to get into the specifics on them, but the bottom line is what happens. Now, before I get into this, I just want to mention, if you're seeing this on YouTube, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little tab. You can click and get over to my main post. If you are on YouTube, then certainly, by all means, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to know that you're watching and that you like my content, if you like it. And if you're over on my post, you can feel free to opt into my mailing list. I don't abuse my mailing list, but I will send you relevant information when I have a post and if there's something else of importance to share. And the value of going over to the post instead of just watching this video is there may be some more support information written, and there will be a few other ideas that I'm going to share with you when you're over on the written post. So now let me get back into my story. What happens is this. First of all, the moment you buy a fifth wheel or a travel trailer or motorhome, the depreciation kicks in, and it's steep. It's worse than a car or a truck. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It's worse than a car or a truck. And dealers have nothing to do with it. I don't know how NADA, who is the ultimate entity that controls the pricing or establishes the pricing, arrives at their numbers, but they do arrive at their numbers, and their numbers are not pretty. Remember, you're buying a RV because you want the recreational lifestyle, you want quality time with the family, you want to go to quality places, you want to know where your own bed is and where your food is, and not pay $100 some odd a night for a motel that might be a roach motel, who knows. You want that lifestyle in an RV. But it's not a financial investment by any means, because the moment you buy it, it becomes a used unit. It could be 2 weeks old. It could be perfect condition. It could have had a cover on it. It could be 2 years old. Same thing, perfect condition with a cover on it. It doesn't really help the value. It might help you in a private sale. That could be. In a private sale, it could be. But the information is so readily available these days online from NADA that if the average retail book value is $35,000, in 99.9% of the cases, you're not going to get over $30,000, $35,000. It's whatever that average retail is, and you're probably going to get less than that. If you are trying to get financed, understand that your lender is never going to give you more than the average retail that NADA states, and probably less. So what happens? The average buyer that I've seen does zero down when they finance. In other words, they're doing 100% financing. And people who have 750, 800 credit scores, it's very common to do that. They come in to buy I'll use the example, $35,000 camper, and they get it for $35,000 and they've put nothing into it. What happens right after they leave? Well, right after they leave, it's no longer worth $35,000. Again, it could be 2 weeks later, it could be a year or 2 years later. Well, let's go with a scenario where they've kept it for 2 years. From my research, and this is strictly anecdotal, I am not a financial expert, I am not a loan expert, I am not a financial analyst. Please feel free to write me and challenge me on this, but from my anecdotal checking on NADA, and I don't care if it's a really well-built trailer. There are a couple of names that you know that if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm very positive on Outdoors RV. I'm very positive on Arctic Fox. I'm not so positive on Forest River. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Forest River trailer or whether it's an Arctic Fox trailer. They're going to depreciate about 20% the first year, 20% the second year, maybe even another 20% the third year, although that's usually around 10%, and then about 5% a year thereafter. Here's where the problem comes in. Your value is going down like that. All right, your value is going straight down. I can see on the video it's going backwards. So what? It makes sense to me. Hopefully it'll make sense to you. So your trailer or your motorhome is depreciating significantly in the first 2 to 3 years. But if you took a loan out and you put nothing down, the majority of the money that you're paying over the first 2, even 3 years, especially if you got a 12 or a 15-year loan, which is not unusual these days. For over $25,000 with good credit, a lot of people get a 15-year loan. What that does is that shrinks your monthly payment. And yes, you are allowed, check with your accountant to write off the interest so that you can actually make that loan work for you to some degree. The problem is that in the first 2 to 3 years, most of what you're paying off is interest. So that when you come to the dealer 2 years after buying or 2 weeks after buying, and you put $35,000 up as a loan, you took out a $35,000 loan, and you call the bank and say, how much do I still owe 2 years later after paying $200 and $300 a month for the last 2-3 years? The answer is going to be close to $35,000 because you've been paying mostly interest, not principal. I'll say it again. At the beginning of the loan, in the first 2-3 years, especially if it's a long-term loan, you are paying mostly principal, not interest. Mostly interest, not principal. Got that backwards. Be careful. Because you're paying mostly interest and not principal, you have not paid down the loan. So you may owe $33,000 or $34,000 on the original $35,000 you borrowed. Well, when you come in to the dealer or just go online yourself to go look at the value of your trailer, it's nowhere near $35,000. Nowhere near $35,000. And that's just the reality. So what you're going to do is take it on the chin. Now, dealers can soften the blow, but you have to watch for this happening. It's not anything deceptive that the dealer's doing. The dealer's doing what the dealer has to do. Your trailer might have a retail value of $23,000 a couple of years after buying it for $35,000. But that's not the way the dealer looks at it. If you go to trade it into the dealer, the NADA retail might be $23,000, but the real value to him might be $14,000. Well, if you go to trade in your trailer and you are trading up, it's possible and likely that the dealer is going to be able to bury what your upside down figure is between what you owe, let's say 33, 34 grand. You might want to write these numbers down. And the real value of your trailer, let's say 14 grand. So there might be a $20,000 deficit there. If you're going for a $70,000 toy hauler, the dealer is going to bury it. He's going to, quote, show you $34,000 for your trade. But that's coming at the expense of not getting a discount on the new trailer. You're going to pay close to retail on that new trailer. And you're going to walk out with a loan not for the original 35. You're now going to be carrying a note for 70 or thereabouts. So you're getting yourself deeper in a hole. And again, that's fine if you understand I'm buying it because of the quality of life and the experiences I'm going to have. Maybe you're a young family and you have kids who are 4, 5, 6 years old. They're only going to be that age for so long, and they're only going to want to travel with you for so long. I often say to families with kids of that age, go out and do this now while your kids still like you. We know what teenagers become or can become. Obviously, there are exceptions to every rule, so yes, I know. But um, you're not doing this because it's a financial investment. That's the bottom line. But the way to protect yourself, the smartest way to buy a trailer, fifth wheel, bumper pole, or a motorhome, whatever it is to do enough research to know that what you are buying is what you want and what you're going to want to keep for several years, especially if you're buying new. If you buy used, it's a different situation. If you buy used, if you get it at the right price, that's again, you've got to understand what is the NADA value on the unit that I'm looking to buy, and if the dealer is asking for over NADA, there better be a good reason for it. Dealers often add value to a trailer. I know when they come out from the dealer that I work at, they get a 90-day warranty. They've gone through the service department, and the service department is incentivized in order to find whatever's wrong with it and fix it. So they do a very thorough job going through the roof, going through the plumbing, making sure there's no leaks, repairing things that are broken. That's an advantage buying from a dealer, but you're going to pay for that. So you've got to be careful that you're not paying too ridiculous a price. And again, if you are paying around the NADA retail for a new or used unit, for the used unit, because there is no NADA retail for a new unit. If you are paying near or above the NADA retail for a used unit, then what you want to make sure of is what's the value that's being added to this? Did the dealer go through the unit? Do I feel confident that I'm buying a good trailer, one that hasn't been abused or anything like that? And I'm not saying avoid private sales. I mean, private sales work just fine most of the time. It's just that you don't have that added protection. Anyway, Alan here, RVAcrossamerica.net. I'm here to be of service and have some fun with this lifestyle. I'm going to be back on the road myself very soon, and I'll have a ton of stories for you coming up. But it's an interesting lifestyle. I love being an RV consultant / salesperson during the summer and working with people and helping them to find the right thing the first time so that they're not coming back 3 weeks later or 3 months or a year or 2 years and saying, oh, what did I get this thing for? It wasn't what I really wanted. If you do that 4, 5, 6 years down the road, the picture's not so bad, because 4, 5, 6 years down the road, the rate of depreciation has begun to level off. In other words, it's slowed down the rate at which it's losing value, and you're now paying your principal into the loan at a far greater rate than you were in the first 2, 3 years. So those numbers kind of hit parity by around years 4, 5, 6. So when you come to a dealer and want to do a trade, and you've got something 4, 5, 6 years old, it's far more likely that you're not upside down, and that you can do a trade and not bury yourself with the next unit. And by all means, when you do buy one, or shortly after buying one, if you can pay down the loan a bit, throw some money into it, what you will be doing is, first of all, reducing the amount of interest that you're paying on the loan. You might want to refer back to a prior video I just did showing what happens when you pay more than the minimum on the loan. You dramatically reduce the amount of interest that you're paying the lender. And that'll also put you in a far better position when you come into trade, because no longer is the dealer looking at the situation saying, well, the only thing I can do for you is sell you something that is far more expensive and then bury you in a big loan, because we're trying to hide, or quote unquote hide, we're trying to accommodate for how upside down you are. And it even gets worse, by the way, if you want to go to something smaller. I have people that had big toy haulers, big fifth wheels, and they said, I want to go down to a little one. And they've had their big toy hauler for 2 years, and it's gone from this value to that value, and their payment has gone from this much is due to that much is due, and it's not pretty. So, Alan here, rvacrossamerica.net. If you like the content, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on my website, rvacrossamerica.net, sign up for our mailing list. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to use the reply area down below, and stay in touch. Hey, we're all RVers, and let's have some fun out there. Take care. Bye bye.